get set up before you start writing PHP code. To get started with PHP, you will need to get web hosting with PHP capabilities or PHP setup on your PC. I recommend you get both of these things set up, but to get started you only require one of the two. Web hosting provides a PHP interpreter, space, and bandwidth for you to run your scripts, among other things. And having PHP set up on a PC gives you a way to test and develop your scripts. PHP web hosting features vary from host to host, but they offer similar packages at comparable price levels. When you look at web hosting, there's paid hosting and free web hosting. Which one you get is up to you, but you typically have more restrictions on free hosting, and there is typically also advertising added to your pages on free hosting. The important thing here is we want our host to have PHP installed. This is a short list of some free and paid web hosts. To find a clickable list, scroll below this video. Assuming you have obtained a web hosting account somewhere, we're going to need a way to get our PHP scripts to the server. The way we can do this is through FTP or through a web interface. FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol, and it's a fast and simple way to browse the directories you have access to on the server, but this method does require a third-party FTP client. The second method is via a web interface, which is provided by the web host. The uploads would be done through your web browser, and although you don't require another program, this method becomes much more involved and it's typically much slower. If you're serious about writing PHP and want to make your life easier, I highly recommend you download an FTP client. I recommend you download FileZilla FTP client. It's easy to use, it's compatible with Linux, Mac, and Windows, but other free and paid clients that do the same thing can be found on the internet. If you would like to download FileZilla, you can find a clickable link below this video. The alternative to web hosting is setting up PHP on your PC. There are several different ways to get PHP on your PC. I recommend you download one of these software packages. These are simple to set up. You simply download, extract, and install. There's nothing extra you have to know to get up and running with one of these packages. The packages simply install the Apache HTTP server, PHP MySQL, and in some cases a couple of other things. But the important thing is we want Apache and PHP installed. To find clickable links to these, take a look below this video. As you have probably figured out, we will be writing code, and to write code you will need an editor. PHP is never compiled, so the files you write are the files that get run. That means that the editor should not embed extra characters in the file, so avoid using Microsoft Word or OpenOffice or a document editor when you write PHP. Notepad on Windows or TextEdit on Mac work just fine to write PHP code, since PHP files store nothing more than plain text. But you probably want to get something funner to use, like Programmer's Notepad, jEdit, or Notepad++. These editors provide syntax highlighting and other features to help you write code. If you've used Eclipse or NetBeans before, you can also work with those. If you're relatively new to programming, I would stick with one of the others I mentioned before. IDEs like Eclipse and NetBeans are great, and they help with syntax highlighting, code hinting, version control, and many other features, but they do take a bit of time to learn and may cause some confusion to those of you that are new to programming. Again, to download any of these, you can find clickable links below this video. One last consideration you need to have in mind is PHP works extensively with HTML. It can be mixed with HTML, or HTML can be mixed in PHP. So HTML knowledge is not a strict requirement to learning PHP, but PHP is a language built for the web, and having an understanding of how HTML works is very valuable. In summary, to start writing PHP, I suggest you get access to some web hosting, whether it be free or paid. I recommend you set up a development environment with PHP on your PC using one of the listed software stacks. I recommend you download an FTP client so you can upload your PHP scripts to the server. Although you can use Notepad or TextEdit, I recommend you download one of the listed syntax highlighting capable editors. I can almost guarantee they will make your learning experience much better. Lastly, I recommend that if you don't have an understanding of how HTML code works, take some time to familiarize yourself with HTML code. This concludes our video on what you need to start writing PHP. Visit our website, htmlandphp.com, for video notes and link to the resources